Good morning. On behalf of all the students at Trinity, I am very honored to welcome you to today's Sower Seed Lecture. I'm a Dreamer Scholar, I'm an athlete, and above all, I'm a Trinity student. And I love my Trinity experience. One of the things I love about being a student at Trinity and studying at a women's college is that I am inspired by all of the women who came here before me, who walked these hallways, who sat in this very room and were students. Trinity women and men have achieved so much and have made such a positive difference in their communities. Today, we welcome a wonderful role model, Corinne Cannon, who graduated from the College of Arts and Sciences in 1999 and then came back and earned her master's degree in the School of Education. Today, she is going to share her own story with you and tell you about her amazing work with the DC Diaper Bank, creating this great community resource and growing this nonprofit organization as the executive director. So, to introduce Ms. Cannon, I just want to tell you why I'm inspired by her. Ms. Cannon created the DC Diaper Bank because, like so many Trinity women, she identified a serious need in her community and focused on addressing the problem. That's what Trinity women do. We assess the situation, and then we take action, and then we succeed. And in doing so, we make a positive difference in the lives of so many people. So, it is my honor today to welcome Corinne Cannon.
So it is amazing to be here with you all. I'm going to say right off the bat, the chances of me sobbing through this are very, very high. I feel like I've come home. This is my home, and you are my people. And I am so honored to be here. Thank you so much for the lecture series. Thank you so much for inviting me. You know, when I'm doing this work, I don't have a lot of time to reflect on it. I don't have a lot of time to think about what it is that we're doing and why. You just go forward and you do. And this has given me an opportunity to really think about what has made this organization grow and what has brought us here. And it's a real gift. It was a gift for me to be able to reflect on this. And as I reflected on it, I sobbed through it all, just so you all know. What I want to do is I want to spend a little bit of time telling you about our work at DC Diaper Bank and what it is that we do and what it is that we want to accomplish and the world that we believe in. And then I want to talk about the seeds that got us to that place. And those seeds are right in this room. Those seeds are the women and men who supported me here, who helped nurture this idea that I was a leader, that I could succeed, that inspiration is in the daily work of doing something you believe in. And then I want to have a conversation with you. I love to hear myself talk, but you guys are probably far more interesting. And you probably have better questions than I could ever raise. So I want to talk about the issues of poverty and some of what we're trying to tackle and get your thoughts and your ideas on what we're doing here. So I want to begin by saying that I never intended to start a nonprofit. In fact, I did not want to start a nonprofit. I had worked in nonprofits. I knew how difficult they were to run. I wanted nothing to do with it. But I was blown away by the issue of diaper need. I was blown away by the idea that we had families living down the street from me who didn't have their basic needs met. And I talked about this all the time. And I was on the playground with my son, and I was talking to a friend of mine, and I said to her, somebody needs to start a diaper bank. And she looked at me and she said, Corinne, you're somebody. And that's essentially where DC Diaper Bank got started. Once I had that little push to say, it can be you, it is you, go forth and do, that's where it really began. You know, I could tell you, I could spend 20 minutes telling you why diapers matter, but what I want to do is actually have you hear about why diapers matter and what we're doing from the moms that we're actually helping. So we're going to watch a very short video, and you're going to be introduced to some of the women who are receiving our diapers and let you see what we're doing.
My name is Corinne Cannon. I am the founder and executive director of DC Diaper Bank. What we're really trying to do is create a community where families have what they need to thrive. I often say that what we're doing has almost nothing to do with diapers. It has to do with strengthening families. And if diapers is one of the ways that we do that, fantastic. But we're really dealing with basic needs and using these as a gateway resource for families. Babies go through about 8 to 10 diapers a day. When you're on a limited income, if you're paying 50 cents a diaper or 45 cents per diaper, that becomes real money very, very quickly.
Brave Beginners, we love the DC Diaper Bank. With this type of resource that's provided to the community is just tremendous. Diapers could be so expensive, especially when you have multiple kids that are in diapers.
So we had Jack in 2009, and we were just overwhelmed by how awesome he was, but also how hard he was. We were not prepared for how difficult it was emotionally and how difficult it was physically to care for an infant. And we had everything we needed. If we had all those things checked off, what was happening to families who didn't? And that's really what got us thinking about how we could help other families.
That half a pack that DC Diaper Bank will give you, I mean, you can make it go a long way. Each time I received it, it was just like there was a load lifted up off my shoulders, because that was, one less thing and one major thing to have to worry about. Having to try to decide where to spend your last $25, it's just hard.
I think Callie and Margaret might help with the next truck. Okay. If that makes sense. Can you help with the next truck?
I remember a letter from a dad who said, because of your diapers, I've been able to provide for my kids in a way I wasn't able to do so before. It was a struggle for me. I am working, but I'm not making enough money to provide everything. Being able to get diapers and provide them to the kids makes me feel like I'm actually providing for my family.
What we have done in 5 years has blown me out of the water. When I look at what we've accomplished and I looked at how fast this has grown, to me it says a couple things. It says that there's a massive need for this, but it also says that there's a massive need for people to have an outlet to get involved, a way to get engaged in this issue, a way to talk about poverty, a way to engage their kids in this issue. So I see what we have done in the last 5 years. I can't wait to see what the next 5 years brings.
And that's just a very quick introduction to kind of who we are. The growth that we have seen in the last 6 years now, it really is astronomical. We started this in my basement. We now operate in a 6,000 square foot warehouse in Silver Spring. When I started it, I was working full time and doing this on the side pro bono. Julie, come in. Come up this way, Julie. I was working full time, and I called this my 8 p.m. to midnight job, right? And we now have 4 employees who are doing this full time and are really, really going at this in a different way. We started with 5 partners. We now work with 37 different social service agencies around the region, and we reach 4,000 families every day. And that is not just with diapers, okay? That's with tampons, that's with breastfeeding supplies, that is soap, that is all of these other things. And are you all familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of need? Okay, right? This is something that stays with me every day. A lot of the funding in our community goes toward GED programs. It goes toward programs for parenting classes and job training. And I strongly believe that money should be going there. But you're not going to a GED class, you're not going to a job training program if you don't have diapers for your baby, or if you haven't eaten, or if you haven't showered in 3 days because your hot water has been turned off. We need to make sure we're taking care of the basic needs of our families before we start to go to those higher levels. And that's really what we're trying to do. We want to create a world where all of our families have what they need to thrive. So where did this work come from? I think the gift of this lecture for me is thinking back and reflecting on that. And I want to tell you about some of the women in my life who have allowed this work to come up. I think that people often ask me, why did I start this? And what they're really asking is not what one thing happened that made you start this organization. What they're asking is, why did you think you could do it? Why did you think you were allowed to do this? And the answer is actually very, very simple. The answer is that I had passionate, realistic role models in my life who lifted me up and said, not only can you do it, you should do it. It is you who should be doing this. And I didn't see these women with rose-colored glasses. I saw them tired. I saw them working multiple jobs. I saw them multitasking. I saw them being told no, 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 and finding alternate routes. And I think that that is the important thing about Trinity, that they show you a realistic view of women's leadership. It does not look like it does on TV. You know, it's not clean, it's messy. And when you add kids into the mix and you add families, it gets even messier. So I want to tell you about some of these women. I want to tell you about some of these seeds. And this is where I'm going to start to cry. So for me, my first role model, I think, as for many, many kids, is their mom. And I am lucky to have my mom here with me right now. Class of 69. And becoming a mom myself has changed my view of her radically. I think that I might have been a little annoying before I had kids, is what I'm saying. I think for me, the strangest thing about being a mom is that you don't know what your kids are going to take from you. You don't know what values they're going to hold on to. You want certain things for them. You want them to believe certain things and know certain things, but you don't know what's going to stick. And growing up, I saw my mom give back as part of her core DNA. We talked about these things, we talked about these values, but what stuck with me was seeing her do it every single day. And some of these things, if you asked what she did, I can give you a laundry list of places she volunteered. It was PTA, it was nonprofit boards, it was anything and everything in between those things. But the thing that stays in my mind when I think about my mom giving back is casseroles. And that probably seems kind of strange, but we went to a small school, and every month or so, the school would call out for casseroles to be made for so others might eat, for some. And every single month, my mom made one. And as a working mom today, the consistency of that breaks my heart. It makes me ache when I think about it. I would bring those casseroles in. I would bring them in, I'd bring them to the cafeteria. And some days there would be an entire table full of them. And some days there would be one. And that was my mom's. And I know she was tired. I know she was exhausted. And I know she did not want to spend an hour making and cooking for someone else. But that's what you do. You do it as part of who you are, as part of your core. You give back. You don't do it because it's easy, because it's not, ladies and gentlemen. It's not easy. What I'm doing is not easy. I don't want to fool anybody and say this is an easy thing to do. It's not. It's hard. But you don't do it because it's easy. You do it because we are part of a community, and you are beholden to each other to help one another. And I hope that my kids are getting that they're seeing the actions I'm taking, and they're understanding that the way that I understood that. You know, I think that the reality for working women and working moms is you're going to be tired. A reporter said to me once, a little while back, how in the world did you start this while you had a full-time job and a 1-year-old? And I almost started laughing. And I said, you know, I realized I was going to be exhausted, so I might as well be exhausted for something I care about. You're going to be tired. You know, that's part of it. Exhaustion is not an excuse. It's not a reason to not get involved in issues that you care about. And that's what I took from my mom, that caring for people, creating the world you want is hard work, and that you have to be consistent. You have to do the casserole every month. You have to be there for people every single month. I think a similar theme emerged in my time at Trinity. In my coursework here, I got a first-class education in asking questions, in saying, why is it that way? Does it need to be that way? Can we change this paradigm? Can we change this dynamic? And there's 2 classes in particular that stick out in my mind, and I took a ton of incredible classes here. But these are the 2 classes that I really think directed me and pushed me to do this work. The first one was a political science class with Dr. McGinnis. And Dr. McGinnis is somebody who is a little She's kind of quiet about some of her beliefs, but they are strong convictions. And in that class, we were looking at child poverty in America. And it was my first introduction to the many systems and the many, many layers that come into play with programs that are trying to support families in need, but sometimes also keep families in need. And one of the things that happened in that class was Dr. McGinnis said to me over and over again, why do you think this system exists? Why this one? Does it need to be this way? And that question drives me today. Does this need to be how we work with families in need? And if it doesn't, how do we change it? What do we need to be doing to change it? The other class that I took that really changed my life direction was a class with Dr. Moyadi. And it was called, it's got a really sexy title, Men, Women, and Complex Organizations. And I went into it, and I was very naive, and I thought, what could this possibly be about? And we spent a lot of time talking about men and women and their communication styles in the workplace. And I remember saying to Dr. Moyadi, this might have been how it was, but it's not this way anymore, right? And she smiled and she nodded and she said, you know what I want you to do? As a class, we are all going to go out and we're going to interview women in power. And I interviewed 6 women. I interviewed a CEO, a judge. I interviewed Julie Galdo from class of 69, who's with us now. I interviewed 6 women in these high-level positions. And the interviews were earth-shattering for me. I was blown away that they would spend the time with me, that they would take time from their day to sit with me and talk about their lives. I was blown away by how tired they were. I was amazed that the stories that they told me of the sexism they encountered in the workplace were so consistent. That the judge was experiencing the same thing as the CEO, that the woman at the State Department was having the same issues as the business leader. That this wasn't something that happened long ago, it was something that was happening right now. And that really got me thinking about how my path needed to be different. My questions needed to be different. I needed to look at this in a different way. As I said, I interviewed Julie, and that interview ricocheted me into a different place. I ended up interning for Julie after that interview. She was the head of communications of a large national nonprofit, and it was charged with really changing the conversation and making some strong actions in the field of low-income housing. She managed 25 people. And seeing her manage, I wish you could all have seen this department hum. Seeing her manage and the way in which she dealt with people was phenomenal. It was an amazing experience for me. She operated out of a model of possibility. I think most workplaces operate out of a model of fear. I don't want to do it because I might get in trouble. I don't want to do it because I don't know what's going to happen. Julie got everyone together and she said, what do we want to accomplish? What can we do if we do it together? And one of the things that amazed me about you was that you never took credit singularly. You never said, I did this. You said the team did this. You said we did this together. For me, this was the first time I had seen a woman lead this way. And this was the first time that I had seen a different model of leadership. And a model of leadership that made sense to me. That I looked at and I saw and I thought, that's what I want to do. That's who I want to be. That's what I want to accomplish. I want to bring people together and I want us to build something together. I don't want it to be a singular focus. Today I manage 3 people. And it's not a role that I stepped into happily. It was what the organization needs, and it's where we are, and it's where we need to go. But it was somewhat scary for me to start doing it. And what I do when I don't know what to do, when I'm concerned about something or I'm not sure how to tackle an issue, I think to myself, what would Julie do? What would Julie do in this position? And that answer always guides me. It guides me well. I think, and I just want to speak to you for 1 second, I say, I don't think you know what being there was for me, and it was for everybody in that department, but being in a place where I was trusted and where I was valued and where, my voice was an equal voice was astounding for me. You know, I think that these are the seeds that brought me to where I am, and these are the seeds that grew this organization, that allowed me to see myself as a leader who could do this, who should do this, who needed to do this. It empowered me to think about myself as someone who could create real change. And I'm so grateful to them, and I'm grateful to this community that pushes women and gives them realistic, passionate role models. Women need a realistic view of what it is to operate in this world. I want to end with one question for you and one thought. As I reflected upon what I wanted to say today, one of the things that I was wondering about was if the women who guided me really knew the weight of their influence on me at the time. And I don't know that they did. I think they were simply going about their day, doing what it was they did and doing it exceptionally. My mom was just making a casserole. Dr. McGinnis was teaching a class she has taught for years. Dr. Moriarty was pushing me out into the world the way she has pushed thousands of students out into the world and said, go see. And Julie was doing her job. I would ask this of all of you. What are you doing in your daily life that is allowing others to see you as a role model? And who are the women who are your realistic and passionate role models? Who are those women? For me, they're in this room. Who are they for you? And when you identify them and you know who they are, let them know they are those people in your life. Go and talk to them and learn from them and take what you can from them. Because here's the thing, they will happily give it. Thank you.